All right, today's May 14th. Let's have a look at how our garden is doing thus far. We are making progress. A lot of our tomatoes are blooming. All of them are blooming. And we planted them in 3 different stages, about a week apart. All different varieties. The only problem with our tomatoes is blight. And blight has been a problem not only for us, but for just about everybody in our area because of the rain that we've had. Our pepper plants are starting to make bell peppers. The jalapenos that we started from seed are all starting to stand up good. The herbs here along the bottom are all coming along. Even the mint that we just put out last week is starting to sprout. The basil looks good down on the end. The problem is blight, and it's becoming a real issue. And I've been trimming and trying to keep limbs and give space, but it's really starting to take over. We've trimmed all the really bad limbs off. Some of them we may have over trimmed, but I'd rather lose 1 or 2 as to lose them all. So we're going to start treating for blight today. Okay, here's what we'll be using today. It's a liquid copper fungicide called bonide or bonide. Anyways, I've mixed it according to the directions of 2 fluid ounces per 1 gallon of water. It says to do this with 12 hours of dry weather ahead. We've just had 2 3/4 inches of rain in the last 4 days. So I've been waiting for the rain to stop so I can start treating the plants. Any really bad sections I'm going to go ahead and remove, and I'm going to treat the good leaves to keep it from spreading. So as you can see with this tomato here, I have trimmed it and trimmed it, but it still is hit with blight very hard. You can see the leaves just began to turn brown, black, and they just shrivel up, and it starts at the low-hanging leaves. You need to get that out of your garden. Word to the wise, spray from the upwind side. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the tomatoes that we have in here. These tomatoes here are Cherokee Purples. We got these at a different nursery than we did the rest of our plants. And they were planted a little later. They were a little smaller to start with. But we have no blight problems with them. That may be the time in which we planted it. It may be that the blight was already started on the others. But when we look at the other tomatoes, and I'll admit I planted them a little close, but I knew I was controlling the water and the nutrients in the straw bales, so I wanted to get the most I could get out of each straw bale. But these Cherokee Purples have not had the blight problem that the rest of the tomatoes have. These are better boys, also from Bonnie Plants. In my area, I've had bad luck with Bonnie Plants, but you may not in your particular area. But the better boys, some have done okay, some have done really bad. This one on the end only has about 3 limbs left. We look over at this side. These first 2 plants are Mountain Fresh tomatoes, and as you can see, they're very full, and I've had to trim a few limbs for blight, but they're pretty full. Next to that, we have Arkansas Travelers. They've really resisted the blight very well. Then we have a Golden Jubilee, which is a large yellow tomato, and it has really struggled with blight. But right next to it is some Golden Pear tomatoes. And these make the little small oblong yellow tomatoes. And I don't know if I've cut 1 limb off this little bush. It has been very blight resistant. Then on the end is the Dark Prince, which is a dark purple meat tomato. And it has been troubled with blight since we put it in 3 weeks ago. I went ahead and sprayed all the cucumbers, as well as the bell peppers, the jalapenos, and the basil, because they also can suffer from blight. So since I had the the copper fungicide mixed up, I went ahead and treated everything that was susceptible to blight in the garden. And I'll let you know how it goes.